in today's competitive environment and in which product individual agents should concentrate. Our panelists for this session are Mr. Praveen Gupta, CEO and MD, Raheja QBE, General Insurance Corporation Limited. Can we have a loud applause and welcome him on the stage? Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today evening. Next to join us on our panel, we have Ms. Santosh Agarwal, Business Unit Head, Life Insurance, Policy Bazaar Insurance, Web Aggregator Private Limited. Please put a loud applause and welcome her on the stage. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. Last but not the least, to join us on the stage, I request Mr. Pankaj Sharma, Business Head, POS, Cover Fox Insurance Broking Private Limited. Please welcome him with a loud applause. I request Mr. Praveen Gupta to please moderate the panel. Thank you. Once again, I repeat, if in case it's possible for you, I request everyone to please join us a little forward for the last leg of the session. The ones who are sitting on my right and the one over there, wherever you're comfortable, in the front seats, please. Thank you so much.
I'm delighted to be here, grateful that I have an opportunity. I was hoping that the third panelist will also be here, which would have made it a real heavyweight panel by itself, but not that the two of them on my left and right don't constitute heavyweight enough. So welcome, and I would like to, there are two amazing things that have happened to the Indian market since we opened up. I've been following the journey as an insider, outsider in terms of geography very closely, and what is closest to my heart is what is now rolling, and these two on my left and right represent that exciting journey which has just begun. And rather than me just doing the talk, I would rather provoke them to talk. And I would also, I didn't expect so many veterans in the audience. I mean, the audience, the crowd has thinned, I believe, since the morning, but I'm delighted and touched by meeting some of you who I've known for a very long, long time. So some of the things that I will say as a warm-up, please pardon my being very basic, but the idea is to just touch the core of the very essence of this forum and take it from there to wherever. So if I may ask you, how many of you here really sell insurance in some form or the other? Wow. So there are very few who don't sell insurance. Now, I'll rather than talk about a product or a range or subject or a cluster of products or set of products which these two champion as of now, I'll start with my favorite product which has never gotten the proper attention. And if I may ask you, how many of you have been involved in selling fire insurance? Okay. And how many of you who sell fire insurance also sell business interruption with that, by and large, as a part of that cover? So so just one hand, is that it? So that's thank you, sir. So Mr. Sethi, has to be putting his hands up, otherwise I would be concerned. Now, if I were to ask you, this is a hotel which is sitting next to a major airport, one of the world's largest or the most busy single runway airport. There are two things that could happen. One is, I don't know what is the dependency of this hotel on that airport, but I asked a similar question to a friend who has a hotel virtually next to the airport, which is franchised to one of the world's largest hotel chain. And I asked, what do you think is the dependency on the airport? And he said, Praveen, why are you asking me this? And I said, look, there is a reason what if this airport shuts down tomorrow? What would be the impact of this on your balance sheet or on your BI cover, which is business interruption or loss of profit? And he said, I don't understand. And I said, look, if the airport shuts down, would that impact the inward flow of your business? And he said, yes, of course. And I said, how much? And believe it or not, he said almost off the cuff, at least 70%. Now, so I said, why have you covered this aspect? He says, is there a product for that? And I said, well, why do you ask that? He says, no, nobody has ever come to me to propose something like this. So the fact of the matter is, I'll not keep on narrating what happened beyond that, but I woke up a client who didn't know that a BI could, for a hotel, could also be imaginatively extended to cover a supplier's extension where the airport is a supplier. And then I said, the balance would be dependent on travel agents. I said, yes. And I said, what if something goes wrong to a travel agent? Or if you're purely dependent on the cyber kind of dependency, what happens there? So the point I'm trying to make is, and going back to the theme of this presentation or this discussion that we are having today at this time of the day, is basically what are the products that can help you increase your business. Now, there are enough products, but there are enough blind spots that we are not able to address or are not addressing. So if a Marriott or a Holiday Inn so close to the international airport is subject to that, should we not be drawing the attention to the owners or the operators of these businesses that something there could impact your business? It's as simple as that. So the first point I'm trying to make is to increase your business as an intermediary or whoever who's interested as a stakeholder in uplifting insurance and increasing the penetration. Should we not be looking at existing products? How could they be pushed further, dug deeper, made wider? Yep. So please keep that as a thought as we go along. And I can't afford to keep these two people here, the two dream things that have happened in the recent times, and I must congratulate the organizer for having gotten the two of them together. So with due respect, may I ask the lady first to tell us what exactly is Policybazaar doing to increase the penetration, to excite the market, to increase the retention, and everything else that you're doing in your own unique ways, please.
Hi, good evening, everybody, and thanks for spending some time on a Monday afternoon here. I hope we can make it worth your time. When I talk about Policybazaar, we started in 2008, and very recently we announced a unicorn. So thank you for all the support. I would say when we started in 2008, there were a lot of questions around, will this even work? Because insurance, like we started, how many of us sell insurance? So insurance is sold, insurance is not bought. That's a basic fundamental about insurance. And we started off on a platform, on a model, where we expected people to come online, put in their details, put in their numbers, and then it basically is an inbound call to a customer. So do people in India really wake up one morning, say, I want to buy insurance, and go somewhere? Right? That was almost like, so some companies that we started speaking to initially, and these were large insurance companies, and they said, are you wasting your time here? We set up the platform in 2008, and we started off with car insurance, because that was the easiest low-hanging fruit to start, because it's a mandatory product, right? We did that for a year, and then we said, it has to be more meaningful. And what is more meaningful is pure protection products, which is pure term insurance, and pure health insurance. So we said, let's start with term insurance. In 2009, we started with one company, which was very forward digital-looking company, Aegon Life Insurance. And they said, we will partner with you to bring a product which is purely online. So we got this product, and then we started getting traffic, okay? We started communicating to customers that, look, life insurance is actually term insurance, and not what you are used to buying. When we started getting a lot of this traffic, we were very young as a company. We didn't have enough resources to put up call centers, to get agents to call out customers, etc. So we told, we have these customers and they want to buy insurance. Do insurance companies want these customers? So we approached a few companies and we told them, like, look, we have these customers coming to us. Why don't you call them out and fulfill their needs? So one insurance company told us that, are you telling us there are people coming into your website looking to buy insurance? That can't be true. And we were dismissed a couple of times. And then finally one company, which is a large life insurance company listed today, said, no harm trying, let us try. That's how we started. So that's how we started with providing inquiries to these insurance companies, and they would outcall these inquiries and close on them. Very soon, we felt that not the right model, because you're breaching customer trust in a way. The customers trusted to come on your platform and wants unbiased advice and not to be pushed by one company to buy. Because somewhere, we were again going down the sell path. We wanted to be on the buy path, and that's what is important to us. So we said, we will provide unbiased advice, let the consumer come to our platform, we will advise him on all the products that are available, and let him make an informed decision. And that's when we said, we know it'll be a difficult time for us. 1 year was very difficult when we let all the revenue go that was coming in from advertising, that was coming in from these leads. And we said, let's start with a model where we call the customer. I think a very bold decision, but was a turning point for us. And what we believe till today is you're only successful in distribution if you are able to give the right product to the right customer and give him what he wants and leave the choice to him. So there are a couple of phases in the journey where we've have had to make these decisions. So in 2013, we used to sell a lot of these investment products, which were traditional products. Not that they're bad products, but those are not the real, insurance is more about protection. It's not about wealth creation. And even if it were wealth creation, there's smarter products available. So we said, we have to let this go and move to a more smarter choice. So we moved to ULIP. So several times in this journey, we've had to take a call as to whether the customer is important or is the revenue important. And we've always chosen the customer. And I think that's the reason we are still in the game.
Excellent. So I'll come back to you, Santosh. Thank you very much. So over to you, Pankaj. I'm sure you're behind time in terms of chronology, but equally exciting your own ways of doing business. Let's hear your script.
Sure. So thanks everyone and good evening. I'm Pankaj from CoverFox, and in fact, before I start about our journey or what we did, I would like to in fact thank Policybazaar, to be honest, because these guys were the first ones who actually thought about something which nobody could even imagine in 2007 or 2008, that time frame, right? So yeah, so we strongly believe that these guys were the pioneers who actually brought this whole thought process that insurance could be bought online, right, rather than just reaching out to an agent or something. So kudos to that and thanks very much. We happened to ride that initial market creation done by Policybazaar in a lot of sense, but that's where that's the only thing that was common. In fact, while we are also targeting the same market in a way, we started way back, I would say way back because we have grown pretty fast. In 2014, January, we got our broking license and we launched our platform somewhere in May 2014, that time frame. Right, so but the core thesis that we have always followed is about the experience of the customer, not only in terms of the products that he wants to buy, but how he is also buying, right? While it is extremely important to give the control and give the decision making to the customer, it is also important that he does not have a clutter in his mind in terms of when he is about to take the decision, right? So there is an assisted part of it, and there is an unassisted part of it. What we have really tried to focus on over the past 4 years as to how we can make it as unassisted as possible for the customers, which means that whether it is a motor insurance, whether it is a life insurance, whether it is a any other type of insurance product, customers should be able to understand as much as possible by themselves and take that decision. And if then they require any support or help, we are available over a call or in any other form of communication. Regarding our journey, keeping this thought in mind, we started with the simplest product, as Santosh also talked about, which was the motor product. And for good part of initial 2.5, 3 years, we only focused on optimizing how we could make anybody just fire a coverfox.com and purchase a policy in 2 minutes, right? And making it as seamless and as simplified as booking a ride on an Ola or buying a smartphone on Flipkart. So that's something that we have fortunately been able to prove to a lot of customers, to a lot of partners, and to the ecosystem at large. And honestly, that's the same thesis that we continue to operate as we scale into other kinds of product lines or business lines. So of late, I mean, we have also started focusing on other products, as I said, from life to health to even other modes of distribution which are POS. But largely our thesis is around the same. How can customer be informed in as much as possible so that he can make a unbiased, unassisted decision by himself.
Wonderful. So again, that's great insight, and I'll come back to you as well. So Santosh, and again, this is a question I would like to raise to both of you is, how has, I belong to a different time zone in terms of the way the business was conducted, the type of people who would generally be part and parcel of whether it's the leadership or the managers or the technicians or the workforce. The hierarchy, the caste system, if I may use that phrase, was very different. What, if I may ask you, and if you don't mind, could you talk about your own background? What drew you into this journey? And what is it that constitutes the workforce at Policybazaar? That is a very significant shift from what it was to what it is. And what draws these young, smart people into your teams, both of you? And that's something they should hear, because this is a major shift from how it was to what it is and what it should be.
So it's quite funny, actually. I had nothing to do with insurance, and so just met Yashish, who's the CEO of the company, through somebody common, and just over a chat, he said, so I was running my own business prior to this, then I did my MBA, and I was with actually an exhibition company, a Times Group company. We just met, and he said, why don't you join us? I said, look, I know nothing about insurance. He said, neither do I. So the only common thing was, all the people who started off this company, nobody was from the background. Look, nobody had insurance background. It wasn't that it was meant to be that way, but I think we liked it that way because there was no baggage. Because if we got people from the industry, a lot of people would tell us why this can't happen. And we didn't want to hear that. So I think that's what kept us going. We would ask a lot of stupid questions to these insurance companies, and they would say, like, okay, do you even know insurance? But we didn't really care.
Did they call you kids?
Yeah, of course, we heard that a couple of times. And that didn't really bother us. So we would always ask, why is this product this way? Why can't it be this way? Why aren't we selling term insurance? Why is term insurance so expensive? So we started asking a lot of these questions. And finally, insurance companies started warming up when they saw a lot of traffic. I think what we did right was not just help companies in bringing out these products, also take the consumer voice to the companies, and when you do that, the companies listen. So I think what was important is communicating. So we started talking about term insurance when the industry had not, today, 2013 was the year when the industry woke up to the fact that term insurance is where people make money, or where the industry makes money. Before that, I think we were almost the only ones talking about term insurance. And that was mostly because it's the right product for the consumer. So large part of our sales today is term insurance and health insurance, and it'll continue to be that way. And trust me, relevant to what we're discussing today, if I were to say one thing that individual agents should keep focusing on is probably some of these pure protection products. I think that's the first sell you should do to get the consumer on your side. And once he's there, then you understand his investment needs better, or he's going to come to you for travel, motor, anyway. But if you give him a pure protection product, maybe a health product or a term product, and when he needs it, and at that point in time, when this product comes in use, trust me, that's the moment of truth. And we've seen families, we've given certain claim checks. We've seen families who've called us back and said that, look, thank God you made me buy this. So that goes a long way, and that, I think, word of mouth, that helps in creating a company. So I think all of us at Policybazaar today, one, that the culture of the company is such, and it's driven by the CEO himself. We don't think we are doing jobs. We are doing our own thing. There's enough freedom, space to do what you want to do, and with complete ownership. So I think that's the culture that is driven, and that's...
Thank you. So yes, I think this is something we'll keep talking about. And Pankaj, can we hear your story and your own background and how the company culture pans out?
Sure. So I would second Santosh on most of the points that she made in this argument. See, companies like CoverFox or Policybazaar who are doing something which is in a way disruptive, right? These cannot be built by people who are traditional, who come from the similar background, or who have certain notions of what cannot be done, more specifically. We at our, and personally also, I also did not have any insurance background. This is my first job in insurance. I joined CoverFox 2.5 years back.
And what were you doing before this?
Yeah, so before this, I was an entrepreneur for 7 years. I built a tech company which I sold to Blackboard.com. I built an online reverse auction platform for real estate. I built a C2C used car platform for used cars by purchase and selling. So nothing related to insurance, honestly. Only thing that I could get in touch with insurance was when we were trying to sell insurance on the used car sale, and we were working by chance with both Policybazaar and CoverFox at that point. But yeah, I think so. The thing that got me excited about this whole opportunity was that it's more. We are always looking at what could be built in a way that insurance penetration can take shape in a similar fashion what an e-commerce has done, right? Is it a platform play? Is it a technology play? Is it something that we can create from scratch and be proud of 5 years down the line? That we created certain dent in the industry and we created something new. So that is something that has been the most exciting part of it. If I talk about people per se who has joined the company. So most of the people, even my colleagues sitting here, they come from different backgrounds. Product manager from Amazon, people who have been entrepreneurs themselves, people who have worked in Silicon Valley and come back. So most of the people have just come to this company to build something which they will be proud of after 5 years, and that's what excites and keeps us going. This is largely the culture that we follow at CoverFox, and that's very we are always looking to find out the problems and solve it in a way that most of the people would not even think or would say that this is not possible. Much similar to what Santosh experienced and said. So our core is technology. Our core is product. We honestly don't understand insurance that much. I'll be very candid in admitting that. But what we have been able to do, or how the things are looking like, I think the industry is changing. I think the ecosystem is adopting technology and platform much faster than anybody would anticipate. And this is spanning across all kinds of insurance products. So we are very excited about the future. We are very excited about the transition of this industry happening to the platform or the technology story, much similar to what has happened to a travel industry or a ride industry or an e-commerce industry. Yeah.
Wonderful. So would both of you agree that it's technology? Yes, I mean, there is fresh thinking, fresh blood, innovation, all that, but the common denominator is technology, yeah? And it's technology which is driving change. Now, linking it to the old world and bringing them into this kind of time zone and the future, do you think technology would allow them the luxury of thinking, which was not happening? It was very transactional, and a client wanted something and you just dished out that, and that was it. There was very little engagement and communication that you're talking about. So it's not just a a universe which will be dominated by CoverFox and Policy Bazaar. It will also be the old world remnants of the whatever legacy or whatever you call it, which needs to be brought into this time zone. And in what ways do you see a partnership, a synergy, which would give them that, that they have the relationships, whereas you have the means to enhance the outcomes and thereby build on trust, which has been a serious lacking factor. So your thoughts?
So basically, I would say solve. What does insurance bring to you, right? It's basically solving your problem of uncertainty, and if you can do that in a smarter way through technology, why not? That's basically the philosophy that we're following. So I'll give you a use case which probably a lot of people here can relate to. So until now, if you have a motor car and you want to buy insurance for your car, you could go, if your insurance policy is still alive, you can go and renew it. Now, if the insurance policy is lapsed, it's called a break-in. And if it's gone through that phase, then you need an inspection for you to renew insurance. So break-in insurance was a little complex because you need to go through inspection process, the surveyor comes to you, he looks at a vehicle, it takes time, you need to fix an appointment, and then post that, the insurance policy comes to you. So we said, can we simplify this through technology? What exactly are we doing? We're giving an appointment, somebody's coming, looking at your car, and then saying that, okay, I can cover this car, and this part I can't cover, this part I can cover, and giving an insurance policy. So we created a video app. All it does is, you can take a video of a car, it will instruct you exactly how to go about it. It will capture the entire car, its interior, you can upload it yourself, and within 2 hours, your insurance policy will be there in your app. What does it mean? It means convenience to you. It means lesser cost to you, because obviously the cost of surveyor, the cost of inspection, all of that physical process does involve approximately 500 to 700 rupees. That cost was brought down to less than 5 rupees, because it's just an app, you take a video and upload it. And somebody at the insurance company looks at the video, says this is fine, okay, here there are a few scratches, I'm not going to cover this part, but apart from this, this is the insurance policy. So that is one use case that we've been able to solve through technology. We've very recently extended that to claim. Again, at the time of claim, you have a motor claim, you've met an accident and you now need to report a claim, right? Somebody will come, look at your car, say, okay, this can be insured and this is the amount that you will get. Instead of going through that process, we said, again, why don't you just create a video of the car, of the damages, upload it on this site. Real time, we have integration with all insurance company that will send the video to a particular company. A particular company looks at the video and a claim is released. So essentially solving real customer problems through technology, through AI, will, in my humble opinion, go a long way in models like Policy Bazaar or CoverFox to scale. Because if we keep doing what everybody else is doing and distributing insurance, there is no fun. So I would say technology definitely will go a long way.
Your thoughts, Pankaj, on that?
Sure. So in fact, this is the most relevant point that we are gonna discuss, and we are actually discussing here in this particular discussion. How I see it, there are two parts to any insurance sale. One is the trust of the seller in the mind of the buyer, right? Who is selling the insurance? How much is he trustworthy, and whether my claim or my future is safe with that policy. And second piece is the experience, right? Which basically means knowledge that the customer has, the speed of the purchase that Santosh talked about, or the speed of the the inspection, or whatever, the overall experience of buying, even after sales part of it, which is claims that Santosh talked about. So when I combine these two, I think that's gonna be the future. The best trust worthy seller, equipped with the right technology, and the product will eventually go the longest way, in my view, as far as the future is concerned. Now, that could be a B2C model, where a PolicyBazaar or CoverFox.com would work. That could be an agent who is selling to a technology-equipped agent who is selling to his captive base of users or customers. That could be a B2B business where people who are selling to large corporates or like Holiday Inn that Praveen talked about would be able to see the same experience there. So what I mean to say is that slowly but surely, even the people who are working in a traditional model of sales, they would start moving to adopting technology, to adopting the platform of the same platforms as the customer is directly using today, which is PolicyBazaar.com or Coffers.com. So that's how we see as a future, and how I see in this technology playing a very important role is because there's so much of data. If we talk about 5 different products, let's say if we talk about only one product, let's say life, there are 5 insurance companies who are selling a life policy, who are giving a life product. Every product has a different kind of coverage. Some has some exclusions, some has some riders, something or the other. So at times, for people to effectively communicate, they would have to learn and understand and basically by heart every detail of every policy. Because customers today and in the future are getting smarter. They are going online, they are researching, they are going on PolicyBazaar, they have an ample time to study the wordings, to study the the breakup of the policy, and then they are trying to reach the agent, right? Or agent is reaching them in some way, right? So customers are smart and they're gonna get smarter. So in that sense, the intermediaries who are selling, they will have to assume that customers know a lot of stuff, right? And hence they will have to ramp up their game to bring up their understanding of the products and the data that's gonna be there. And that's only gonna be possible through a data repository over a platform, technology. I mean, nobody can remember, I would say 1500 data points in his brain and be very, very sure what he's communicating to the customer. So that way I see a very significant marriage between the selling model, the sales process and the technology plus data backbone as we move into the future. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Thank you. So my next question is on digital divide. So the sense I'm getting is from both of you that technology, the country has a fairly diverse population which can be segmented into digitally savvy or digitally challenged, if I may use that phrase. How would you think one needs to address the challenged population, the ones who are not yet into, neither they are not digital natives, nor are they, accessible to the digital world, despite pronouncements from the very top of our government. There will be a major divide. Age is not always the factor, but definitely there are haves and there are have-nots. So how do you think?
Big bazaar for shopping for vegetables, etc. So I think people, there are adopters, and these adopters will exist if we are able to genuinely solve their problem. For us, insurance being slightly more complex, the way we want to solve that is through voice. I think voice is going to be very, very important in being able to solve some of these issues, because insurance being complex has a lot of jargon. So simplifying that and being able to give the right product to the consumer will be important. Here, I don't think comparison will work or aggregation will work. Here, customize to you, the right solution for you, communicate in an extremely simple way is the way to go. For example, if my dad wanted, again, a car insurance policy, he would say, this is the model, make, chassis number, this is what I have. We should be able to read that, convert that into text, throw a quote which is most optimized for him, give him a one-click pay and move ahead. If we are able to solve that journey, for somebody in that age, we already have an adopter. And it's already been proven, right? We don't have to, in this space, we don't have to be the first ones to prove it. So there's PhonePe right now. So a lot of these e-commerce platforms, there's Amazon. Most of my shopping, most of the shopping today on some of these electronics is done, and my parents live in a small town, Darjeeling. Even there, if they're accessing technology and using these platforms. So the world has changed, and India has changed. So I don't think we've to be the first ones in that space. If you're able to solve it and make it simple for these people to buy, they will come online. And I think voice will play a large part in solving that problem.
So Pankaj, do you have similar thoughts or different thoughts, or even for that matter, voice would have language implications, and whether a country like us, we have advanced to an extent where you can have 350 dialects or whatever to account for?
Yes. So I think while it's a very interesting idea, very innovative in that sense, because voice is definitely not only in India, but voice is definitely going to be the largest platform worldwide in next 5 years. We talk about Amazon Alexa.
Can you tell us,
and those kind of things?
for the advantage of the audience, what exactly, how does voice really
No,
work?
yeah, I'll just come to that. But before that, I would just want to put my thoughts on the question that you raised.
Yes.
How will the digital divide be conquered? Yeah. So the challenge is multifold there. It's not only about in our view, it's not only about the customer is not able to use the technology because they are all using WhatsApp, because they're all using Paytm, as she said, right? So a lot of people have a Jio connection over a smartphone, even in small villages. So Jio recently released that report, right? So it's not that they are not using technology, or they are not gonna use technology. The key here is that whether they are gonna buy insurance or not on through technology, right? And that's where the whole problem solving has to happen. It will happen on multiple fronts. It will happen through evangelists in those domains who would basically create the ecosystem there to educate the market. We are talking to a lot of rural banks. We are talking to a lot of rural women empowerment centers who are actually creating entrepreneurship or promoting entrepreneurship through these factions. So these guys are the ones who actually start telling the people in those areas to adopt technology and how to do that, right? So we'll have to develop an ecosystem of evangelists empowered through the technologies that Santosh just mentioned, or even for that matter chatbots, even for that matter standard mobile apps which are very simplified in terms of their buying journey. Multiple models, but it'll have to be a combination of both in my view, at least as far as I think of the people who are not using technology to buy insurance today. Coming to the technology part of it, yes, voice is going to be the biggest channel or the biggest platform worldwide. But voice has inherent challenges, just as you just mentioned, right? Specifically in India, there are so many different kinds of pronunciations, dialects. Even for the same dialect, two pronunciations change. So the technology is obviously evolving, and kudos to Policybazaar to be able to conceptualize and start working that. We got an idea. so just kidding on that. But I think they're still a good 2 to 3 years away. We are from getting a reliable voice to text conversion engine, which essentially a lot of companies are working on right now. So I strongly believe, and I agree with Santosh that that's going to be one of the major platforms of bringing the people who are uninsured on a technology platform faster. But I think it's still 2-3 years away when we get the core technology to be strong enough to be able to drive that change. That's my personal perception, personal view.
So a lot that both of you say is very similar. So I'm trying to figure out how is Policybazaar any different?
No, we are
CoverFox, or vice versa.
So I think philosophically in the way that we are executing things, we are different. But largely the products that we are selling or the kind of business model that we are operating in, it's exactly the same. If I were to say so.
I agree with that.
Which is why a lot of ideas conquer, but the way of implementing those ideas would be different in my view. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So I feel. So for us, I would say what sets us apart is we will always think about the consumer. We will always think about consumer first in terms of, so if there's choice to make in terms of company revenue or consumer, we will keep consumer first. If there's a choice to make about giving consumer the right product versus keeping a partner relationship and making a partner happy, it will always be customer. In this whole journey, right, I would say what Policybazaar does one thing very well is it always believes in the next step, always believes in innovation. So the moment we did this whole inspection app, we moved to now claim. Now we're moving to voice. So we're always challenging ourselves in what next. The good part is there's nobody solved it before us. So that I think onus, the industry puts that onus on us. So every insurance company we meet, they ask us, what new are you doing? So that puts us under tremendous pressure, and in a way we lead the market, so there's nobody to look at. That keeps us under constant pressure. And I would say that's what keeps us going every day. What new?
So what next? Could you also become an insurer, either of you or both of you?
Well, we've thought this through multiple times, and it looks like the logical step in the value chain. We've stayed away from doing it because there are partners who've supported us all through, and we are an unbiased platform, and hence people come to us. The moment we dilute that proposition, the very core business model may be at risk, and that's the reason we've stayed away, very honestly. But we don't know. We don't know. So today, I honestly feel comparison is important. You want to look at 5 products, make an informed choice and buy. But will this the way of operation 5 years later? I don't know. Because if you look at other products, right, there's this Alexa Home. If you tell Alexa what do you want, it'll throw out a customized solution for you. Very recently, Netflix did away with all customer reviews. So there are things that are telling you that maybe comparison may last, may not last, we don't know. Maybe 5 years later, what may be important is you may not want choice, but you want a product which is customized, suitable for you at the right price. If that's given to you, and this is a simple enough journey, maybe that works. So if the industry starts moving in that direction, we will have to take the route of becoming an insurance company. But again, that's still unknown.
Well, wonderful. Thank you. So that's breaking news. So how about you, Pankaj?
Sure. So very interesting question. In fact, I would probably, I'm a bit uncomfortable on the question, to be honest. But having, one of... No, because, whatever I'm going to say, it is going to be a little different from what the market believes or perceives about CoverFox as of now. We strongly believe that India is a distribution problem. We very strongly believe it's not only about insurance, it's about any other, you talk about real estate, you talk about cars, you talk about, the intermediaries have never been nobody has been able to remove intermediaries. Today, if you talk about even Amazons, they're going to the next level of, penetration through the partnerships. Warehouses, owned by partners in tier 2, tier 3, tier 5 towns. So that's something that's very clear to us. It's a multi-tiered distribution which India has. The penetration of internet and more so on transacting users on internet is extremely low, as opposed to something like a US where 90% of the users transact online. So it's extremely easy to propagate an idea through a TV ad or through a digital ad to 90% of the population, and hence the distribution is largely flat. In India, the distribution is a multi-distribution. Unless you are able to create a strong brand which percolates across the whole value chain or the population, it's extremely difficult to reach to the masses, right? And if we are to be a big contributor to create that next level penetration, we have to solve the distribution problem. Hence, we are very excited about it. As CoverFox, we do not aspire, or we do not even look at trying to become an insurer, primarily because of this thing that we know that 70 to 80% of the market will be owned by the distributors in India as we speak, and that too technology-enabled distributors. In a sense, we are going to follow the UK story. That's what we strongly believe, where 70%, 75% market is being held by aggregators, be it through a POSP network, kind of a network, or through a B2C kind of a network. But that's our strong belief. So hence, we are investing extremely heavily into building capabilities onto making this platform available everywhere through an intermediary or direct to the customer, or next level of intermediaries or partners who are not even in insurance. We don't care. Our platform, if it grows, it is going to grow the penetration. So that's what we believe.
Thank you. So one of my last questions, hopefully, before we start inviting questions is, are you daunted by a competition, not from each other, but from the direct? So that also has happened in many markets where customers moved up the value chain, they became digitally savvy, with virtually 5G and everything, you can get anything done anytime. do you see direct becoming a challenge for either of you, both of you?
Honestly, and again saying that with a lot of humility, I would love some competition to exist. Because, we've been around for quite some time, and
not giving you hard
thanks to CoverFox, they've started 2-3 years back. But you need somebody to keep challenging you, right? So I think I would love to have a lot of competition. It stays you, it gives you a lot of rigor to go back to work and say that, okay, I can do this better. So it's good to have competition. Honestly, direct channels of companies are still very, very traditional. I don't think their version of technology and our version of technology is very different. Technology there means instead of using a physical paper, using a tab to complete the journey. So it's still, very, very old thinking that, in my view, will take a long time to catch up. But yes, companies themselves, insurance companies themselves have started to invest in online, to invest in digital, to invest in some of these areas where they feel that, okay, and supported by tools like chatbot, etc. But this is one of the things that they do. And online probably constitutes to about 1% or 4% of these companies. They will never be able to put the kind of focus we would do. For us, everything is digital, right? So it's kind of unfair to even say that, will they be able to catch up, not catch up? Because for them, it's just one thing. For us, this is the only thing that we do.
So your thoughts, Pankaj?
Yeah, so I think we will face competition from direct channels in terms of business in the short term. But in the long term, I think what Santosh is saying is right, because the way the business will, if the business moves the way that we all visualize, insurance companies will not be able to compete on the technology or the platform capabilities. And I'm not talking about only the engineering part of it, but I'm talking about the whole ecosystem story, which, for example, Santosh mentioned about self-inspection app. We mentioned about, unassisted sales. We mentioned about a lot of price, flexibilities, pricing flexibility in the platform, those kind of things. And couple that with a capability to service any kind of product on a platform, being a broker or being an intermediary that we have. Insurance companies will face a hard time, in our view, to compete for the digitally savvy consumer, whether it is the B2C business or a B2B business. But in the short term, yes, since we since we are actually existing in the same market, there is bound to have bound for some competition to happen. Having said, another point that I want to add here is that we at CoverFox are extremely bullish on this fact that we want to create the next 10 million sellers in the market. So I'm talking about specifically on the seller ecosystem as of now, while we do have a B2C buyer ecosystem also. Why we think that is because the whole concept of increasing the penetration in India is going to happen only if we create newer markets. Right? If there's a market which is at 3% or 5% penetration and everybody is like fighting within that same market, beyond a certain point, it'll start hurting everybody, right? And we have seen examples of it happening already. So unless somebody takes that initiative to create that extra penetration that we are looking at, and 10 million sellers means people who are today job starved in tier 10 towns, tier 5 towns, people who can earn say 10,000 rupees by selling insurance and make a livelihood out of it. Can we make a platform or product? Can we give that platform on a smartphone over a geo connection for him to enable his livelihood that way? So once that happens, it is gonna be less of a conflict with the existing channels, direct channels of the insurance companies, and hence we believe that even if there's a 5% conflict, 95% of the business that we will do will be a new business that we will bring to the insurance company. So we believe that it's gonna be a synergetic or symbiotic relationship rather than a competition.
Wonderful. So I can go on and on this. I mean, it's so exciting having two lively speakers, thinkers, doers, who are going to really make and break the way things are done today and will not be done like this tomorrow. And I can go on and on. But I think we need to now get you all involved, ladies and gentlemen. And please, someone must put a hand up to ask the first question. Yes, please.
Providing all kinds of journey, whatever he's done on the platform when he bought the insurance. Do we have call recordings? All call recordings are stored till the policy term, providing that call recording to the insurance company, providing all kind of support to ensure that the claim is paid out. And even the insurance company does not want to repudiate. The insurance company wants to pay the claim if they have the right information. And because all of this is digital, storing that information is pretty easy. So I think we go a long way in trying to solve every customer's claim request.
I think.
In fact, what you mentioned about if the claim is payable, we had a slogan in my insurance company in the past that if you can pay the claim, if you must repudiate the claim. That's what the slogan we had. If that is the thing which is being carried forward, I'm very happy about it. The second part is that when you say that you are going to fight for the claim with all the clauses and everything, some insurance knowledge of the past, some insurance knowledge of the current has to be combined to fight the claim. You mentioned that you don't have any insurance background. That is what you started with. How do you take care of it now?
So we acquired it over time. So obviously when we started 10 years back, none of us came from the industry. But yeah, we've kind of learned it all in-house.
So Pankaj, your thoughts? Sorry, so
Yeah, just wanted to add one point here. When we started, we had an option of applying for a web aggregator license or a corporate agent license or a broker license, multiple licenses, right? We applied for a broker license fundamentally because of this one single reason. If I go by word of the definition of a broker, he is essentially nothing but a customer representative in front of an insurance company, as opposed to an agent who is a representative of an insurance company in front of the customer. So when we took this broker license, we only did that because that's in our DNA. That's what we do. That's what we have done. And that's I'm not just saying it for the sake of saying. We are rated 4.6 on any kind of rating, consumer rating platform as far as India's insurance consumer is concerned. So that speaks of our capabilities to help them in these kind of scenarios. So I believe, and obviously for anybody, be it CoverFox or Policybazaar, who are trying to create a brand, a big brand or trustworthy brand, it goes without saying that without focusing on the consumer's experience or in any form, we cannot carry it for the long term. We cannot make something which is big and large for a long term. So that's what my thoughts are on that.
yes.
Just a simple question. Santosh, you guys got the name right, Policybazaar. Pankaj, CoverFox, Fox. And that too something which is absolutely based on trust. Can you throw a light on that? And you guys are wonderful. I was about to leave at 3:30, but when I saw you both, I stayed back, and I think it was worth it.
Thank you.
Yeah, pretty interesting question. I haven't been asked that for quite some time. In fact, just framing my thoughts, but largely, Fox. When we conceptualized Fox, we conceptualized somebody who could, who could be very smart, fast thinker, and fast executor. So those are the capabilities, or those are the traits that we have associated with ourselves when we conceptualized with the Fox. So conceptually, yes, sometimes people relate Fox to being cunning and a little less trustworthy. I get your point there, but honestly, our thought was on those three qualities that I mentioned, rather than the other part of it, right? So hope that answers the question. Baki rest is in our execution, honestly. So we have been able to, honestly satisfy most of the customers in a good way. So thankfully, we hope that we are doing things right now. Yeah. So cover is obviously the core thing. But I was just specifically answering for the Fox piece that he mentioned. Yeah. So that way.
Policyholders shouldn't get outfoxed. That's the key. Yes. Excuse me.
Like we have big bazaar, big is in English, bazaar is in Hindi. How did your name came like policy in English and bazaar in Hindi? Is it a coincidence? Thank you.
Well, I think it just resonates well with the Indian audience. Bazaar is a place where you get choice and you get comparison. You can pick up what you want to buy. And insurance policies is what you sell. So Policybazaar, I think, was just the right thing for us to do.
Okay. I'm talking about the English and Hindi combination. Big Bazaar, Policy Bazaar.
So more questions, please, more challenges for them to go happier back to work. So it is, I'm sure you're smiling, so you have something in your mind.
We'd like to know what are the actual statistics of the claims paid by life insurance companies when they have sold the policy online versus when they have sold offline. Because we find that there is a significant difference between these two figures. And the figure which is ultimately released to IRDA, it's a combination of that, which is the weighted average. And Aegon Religare is one of the good example, which is, and that is where there was a very high rejection rate of the claims of the policies which were sold online.
So I would want to answer this in two ways. One, there isn't any disclosure in the industry today with respect to claims paid online and offline. Honestly, even we are not privy to the data. Having said that, the claim settlement ratio that the industry publishes is total of term insurance claims and maturity claims. So it's not just life insurance claim ratio that is published. The other bit about Aegon started off with both offline and online channels. Aegon has moved to becoming a sole digital company in the last 2 years. Whether it does not matter, when it's a young company, it does not matter whether the company is sourcing business online or offline. What is most relevant and impactful at that time is the age of the company. Because the company is young, the base is very small. Even one, it's a law of large numbers basically. When the company is young, the base is very small. Even one repudiation will make a major dent in its claim settlement ratio. As the number of policyholders and the base grows, that starts to have very little impact. That was the Aegon story. Every claim that Aegon repudiated had a clear clarification on their website, and it was not only digitally sourced. It was just the last 1 year that Aegon has moved to being a purely digital company. And the reason for doing that was they found a significant difference in the kind of claims they got from online and offline. The reason Aegon moved there because the source of acquisition was lower, the kind of profiles were better, and the claims were genuine. Aegon, from 58% claim settlement ratio as a company, this year, FY 17-18, the data that was published this year is at 97%. So in my view, and these are all, so we don't have data points to substantiate this, but the very reason that Aegon chose to move in that direction should answer that question.
Pankaj, you have any thoughts on that? Of course, Aegon may not be an area you would know firsthand, but your general thoughts?
Yeah, so my general thoughts are, so again, I don't have data in my mind also about if I segregate between the offline and online. But what I know for sure is that the kind of profiles or the kind of customers that are purchasing the life insurance online, they are very different from people who are purchasing offline, right? While that base is still small, the quality of customers and the kind of claims that are reported, they are largely, better quality. And not only in terms of life, I talk about even for car, for example, the loss ratios for a car insurance business happening online versus a loss ratio for an offline business. Online is always more profitable for insurance companies. So in a general market, online behaves better for an insurance company than an offline market. However, there might have been scenarios in the past where certain kind of misappropriation would have happened, and they could have sneaked through into the systems through online when the systems were not as strong, even for insurance companies. So that probably could have been the case what you are referring to, but largely conceptually the kind of profile that goes into an online business is much better than offline business. So that's my outside view from that.
Thank you. So one last question. Yes, sir.
Hi, Pankaj, I believe you are from POS. You handle POS as well?
I had the POS business, yeah.
Okay. So wanted both of your views on the POS, how it will shape up in the coming days and months and years to go about. And I think Policy Bazaar is not promoting POS much the way CoverFox is trying and other Turtle Mint and Renewbuy is doing.
Yeah.
So what's the view of both of you and
Sure.
insight on that?
Sure. So, I'll speak the CoverFox side of story. POS to us is an extremely exciting opportunity to create that next level of penetration, as I said earlier, because POS essentially allows us to train, certify, and create that next wave of sellers in India who can take the penetration to the next levels. That's the fundamental thesis what we have started working on POS with. Currently, yes, there is a lot of excitement around the whole story. People who are already existing agents moving to a POS model of a broker from an insurance company and things like that. But in the long term, a broker has much more capabilities in terms of placing the right product for every customer. Because they can sell any product from any insurance companies, right? And if done right, in the interest of the consumer, that's gonna create the best distribution model. That's what we strongly believe.
So is CoverFox ready with the platform for using the POS activities?
Yeah. So we already have a platform live. So it's called CoverDrive on Android Play Store. It's an app which is readily downloadable, and anybody can just download and get registered automatically. So it's just everything is online, and then start selling policies. And we have a web version of it also. So we are very ready. We started investing into this platform very heavily last year. Around October, we started that. And today, we have not even completed 1 year, but we have a large number of POSPs registered already. So yes, and we are promoting that particular business piece aggressively. See, as I said, I mean, at CoverFox, we are looking at a platform story. It is not specifically that we are trying to do a B2C or a B2B. As long as we can solve anything through technology, which is our platform, we want to solve that. And POS provides us that opportunity to take our platform and technology capabilities to every nook and corner of the country, whether it's a village or whether it's a tier 10 town or whether it's a tier 1 city.
So all the commission part and everything will be inbuilt with the CoverFox, that will come from the insurer to you, and then you will pass it on to
No,
the POS.
we remunerate the POS from our side. So the regulation or the guideline does not mention it commission, it mentions remuneration. So it may be a fixed salary remuneration model, it may be a per sale remuneration model, it may be any model that we are free to decide on. This is different from the commission that we receive from the insurance companies. So these are two different things.
Right, thanks.
My view is slightly different on the POS model. I would like to begin with saying that we don't understand POS model as Policy Bazaar. We understand online. We understand how the customer comes online, looks at products, the call center assists. Everything is done on a recorded line. Like Sir asked in the previous question, when there's a claim, we have no fear because we've sold it right. We have every call recording, we have every recorded instance of what the customer did on the platform. We're able to substantiate what the customer did and help the customer get through the claim. When we move to a POS model, the level of control will dilute a lot. You may train your agents right. What do they do and go to the field and tell the customer in person? You will not be able to control that. And that's the fear we have. We've been able to reach where we are because we've done things right. We've created a brand for ourselves where customers trust us. So there was one study that one of these insurance companies conducted, and would be proud to share that with you. In consumer mind, the brand, if you talked about insurance, what brand came first? It was LIC, and next to that was Policy Bazaar. So that to us is very, very important and crucial. I know business growth is important, but is that the model we would want to?
They put the mirror before us to show us the future, and I think the future is bright. So we don't need to think of future shock. I think we need to be into a brave new world with the kind of energy, the determination, and the great work they're doing. I think the Indian market is headed to a real great show in the times to come. Thank you very much with that. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us over here in this wonderful session. Please put your hands together once again for them, ladies and gentlemen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I, on behalf of Insurance Conclave, powered by Insurance Alerts, would like to thank you for all of you for attending this conclave. All the speakers who have agreed to come upon over here from their busy schedule, our sponsors, the New India Insurance Corporation Limited. Can we have a loud applause for them? And keep the applause going for Cigna TTK, Health Insurance Corporation Limited, everybody, and Insurance Federation of India. Well, we are sure that you have all enjoyed the day, yes or no? Thank you so much listening to our eminent speakers who have spared their precious time all the way and come over here. And we are sure you will attend our future enclaves also. We look forward to see you once again. And last but not the least, can we have once again a loud applause for our sponsors, the New India Insurance Corporation Limited and Cigna TTK Health Insurance Corporation Limited and Insurance Federation of India. Thank you once again and have a wonderful day. Thank you. This is me, Anchor Deepa Srivastav, signing off for the day. Thank you.
आँखों में रोशन उम्मीदें ली, मन में विश्वास भर हम चल दी, खुशियों का एक नया संसार रचना है, नया इंडिया बनाना है, नया इंडिया बनाना है, पलक की ऊंचाइयों को हमें छूना है।
न्यू इंडिया एश्योरेंस में हम हर वो कदम उठाते हैं जिससे आपके सपने सच हो सके।
बीमारी में गुदगुदी बनते हैं और ठीक होने पर मजबूती। आपके अपनों के जैसे सिग्ना टीटीके हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस भी आपकी हेल्थ के लिए करता है थोड़ा ज्यादा। बीमारी में प्रोटेक्टिव हीलिंग बेनिफिट्स और सेहत में प्रोएक्टिव लिविंग प्रोग्राम्स। सिग्ना टीटीके हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, हेल्थ है तो लाइफ है।